The 90s.
Can I help you?
Agents Mulder and Scully, FBI.
A decade of mixtapes, flannelette shirts, and unforgettable icons. Whether it's the perfect pairings in TV, music, movies, these icons shaped our lives, and few would argue were more iconic than Wayne and Gar. Excellent.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent. Extreme
Foxy. If you grew up as a kid in Australia in the 90s, there is no doubt that one of these would probably been on your wall. The bright yellow VL BT1 Turbo.
You'll never afford it. Live in the now.
It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine.
This VL is actually getting a stereo upgrade, but it isn't getting our VL fascia because this one's a bit more of a traditional kind of finish. Very rare, very expensive. Factory radio still in there. Getting replaced with some modern technology. Bit of Pioneer 6x9's going in the back. Neat thing, RB30. Bit of a period correct jobby. Big eye mount on the side. Front facing plenum. All old school, 90s, 2000 spec. Anodized fittings everywhere. Braided lines. Bit of a period correct, sort of early 2000s. That's what I sort of grew up with that. Oh, any of you guys that are as old as I am, which, you know, in relative terms is not that old, grew up with this sort of stuff. But yeah, you know, a lot of the time these old cars you end up finding some pretty cool stuff under the seat. We got some shiny stones under this one. Nice. There's also some broken glass, so like most VLs, probably been broken into, might have been stolen a few times. Quite a bit of glass under here. A few straws, a few pens. A couple of 1 cent coins. Tell me the last time you saw a 1 cent coin.
I reckon I know someone that's probably right up his era as well, so I'm going to just give it to him. Hey Chris, I found something for your piggy bank here, mate. Little 1 center. Beautiful.
Yeah, back seat unclips at the base. Old school Philips speakers. Little right angle drill bit if you haven't seen one before. That one there where you can't get the drill directly above, especially the one in the back corner. And then this one here, which is pretty flogged out, it's just spinning in the hole. There you go. Shelf is out. This one we've just traced out the old parcel shelf. That had 6-inch holes in it, so we just drawn them on where they will line up with the holes that are already in the metal part of the shelf. And then these, if you buy a set of Pioneer speakers, come out of the box as like a template for the inner and outer sizing, so you can roughly work out where you need to sit them. We've used an 18mm MDF for this shelf. The reason being that I want to screw it in from underneath to secure it, and then just mount the speakers straight into the shelf so it's nice and solid, which we're going to see what it looks like when it goes in, but we might end up trimming an edge onto it just to sort of slim it down. Test fit. Definitely done this the hardest possible way I could have. Just test the seat back in there now, and then that's it. Probably bevel the edges on the sides. Alright, if you've been following the channel for a while, you would already know that we're quite big fans of the Car Builder spray adhesive, which one of the best options we've found that's actually in an aerosol can. So we've got our board sprayed out, we've got our back side of the carpet sprayed out, and so we'll just give this a second to tack off and then slap it on the top. Alright, we use this Car Builder's carpet because they claim it to be like 4-way stretch, which is important because especially something like this, you can actually pull it around and stretch it up just like that. Put some small relief cuts in it and you're on your way to victory here, friends. Yeah, We've had some other carpets here in the past that don't have this level of stretch, and they are absolutely nightmare to try and work with, especially in these corners, because you cut back and then you need to be able to stretch and pull it up over so you don't actually have a gap on the outside edge. One of the advantages to us being a paint shop as well is I got a little bit of glue just flicked up onto the front side or the top side of this. Let's get a little bit of thinners and just gently wipe it, just enough so I can just pull that little bit of glue off there. Alright, speakers are plugged in. Got to carefully drop these mesh grills out, because otherwise they don't go back in. Little tip with these, if you haven't pre-drilled them, which I haven't because I wanted to line them up with the metal part of the shelf, you cover the inside with the hand, so if this slips off, it doesn't pierce the speaker. The hand will repair itself, but the speaker won't. Like that, straight into the hand. Alright, that's it. Ready for the head unit. Beautiful. Right, so we're on to the head unit removal. The speakers in the back are done. Brett and I just had a bit of a bet as to how many screws we're actually holding this top panel in. Because if you know anything about VLs, you know they're not held together very well at this point in time. None of them. They're all broken. So the answer here is no screws. This whole top piece was just literally held in by the clips that are up here on top of the vents. That one's broken. That one's broken. These at least are sort of in here. So we'll unscrew them to unplug them, and then that comes out. As Mr. Brett likes to say, just like that. So yeah, pretty intense, the old VL factory radio. Sometimes you get away with it if someone's already pulled the shit off the back of it. This one, not so lucky. Yeah, so you got these two tiny little screws. These little guys that go in through the top of the back of the radio. So that's your factory Holden Eurovox tape deck. These little ones here. So to get to them, you gotta take the whole top half of the dash apart to unscrew them. So that's fun. Wiring in our new head unit plug, which you can see sort of runs back in there. Thing I thought I would mention to anyone that maybe hasn't done one of these before is the speakers. If there's more than one speaker in, sort of early Commodores are pretty common for it, but it's an 80s car thing especially. Speakers are common ground. So if you've ever wired a CD player radio type setup up before, usually your speakers have two wires going to each one, positive and negative, which is still the case in this car, two wires. But these old head units don't have like 4 channels of amplification, which modern head units have. So what you get is a situation like this plug, which you can see has got one wire and then 2 that are paired in together, which is the same color as this side, except there's only one wire. So that means that the earth is common and the power switches left to right depending on left to right channels. In this case, this car had rear speakers added in, so then it had like an old school dial to do the fader and balance. But in this case now, with the new head unit, we've actually replaced all of that. So we've only really used one pair of wires original that go left. I've run a new cable over here, and attached the original plug for the speaker to it. And then there's 2 new wires that run back for the rear speakers. So just a little trap for young players on these old school machines, especially early Commodores. We're back here on day 2. Didn't quite get it finished yesterday. I went to start it, to move it last night, and all of a sudden I couldn't get the car to start, and I realized that there is actually some wiring underneath which has been put in aftermarket. Wasn't done that well. And unfortunately, when I had all the dash apart to pull the radio out, something got knocked off one of the relays and it wouldn't start. So, but very quickly just threw it all back together. So that's our head unit installed. These head units always are a bit of a pain to try and fit nicely because they're not really designed to go in there. You can't ever really get them to sit nicely because of the way the dash is curved 2 ways. So if you haven't seen our doubled in solution before, that solution actually does away with a lot of this problem because it's sunken in more. If you are fitting one of these for yourself, that cradle's riveted in the top 2 corners. You've got to grind the rivets down pretty flat, otherwise the unit won't slide in properly to the cradle. And this thing pumps. I'm really happy with the result. That thick parcel shelf in the back there really holds the speakers in nice and solid. So very, very pleased with the way this has turned out. So guys, if you got some value out of this video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel because we'll have plenty of other videos coming in the future, hopefully bringing you some more value as well. Until next time guys, take it easy and we'll speak soon.